Hey everyone, Steve Monette here with another video in my Bible Prophecy Bites series where we look at Bible scripture, history, and current events that all point to the soon return of Jesus the Messiah. Okay, so for today's video, I want to talk briefly about the presidential election that we've all just experienced and gone through. And if you are like me, many Christians are asking the question, why did God allow Biden and Harris to win this election? I mean, after all, Trump has done so much for this country, and he has done so much for Israel. So, of course, that begs the question, why would God remove him? But at the end of the day, we must go to scriptures to get this answer. And let me be clear, the scriptures are very clear. And the first scripture that I want to give to you today is Daniel 2:21, where God clearly states that he raises up kings and he also brings them down. So if nothing else, we have that one single verse to go on. But for many of us, myself included, that verse in and of itself may not be enough to help us understand just what happened. So I want to give you an additional 3 more biblical reasons why God may have allowed this to happen. Fair warning. This is not one of those videos where it's thus saith the Lord. This is strictly my opinion from a biblical perspective. Do what you will with it. So first off, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 8. And we're going to look at the whole chapter. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, and I would highly encourage you to do this. It's a great story. It reads like a small novel. And it's a short chapter. But in these verses, the people of Israel ask Samuel to appoint for them a king, as Samuel is growing old and is unable to fulfill his duties as a judge over the people. Now Samuel takes this request to the Lord, and the Lord responds to Samuel by stating that this request is not because the people have rejected Samuel. Rather, it's because the people have rejected God. Now think about this for a moment. The people are requesting a human ruler or a king to rule over them because they have rejected God. They would rather have a human rule over them than God. I'm not sure I understand that, but history is well recorded and documented. Well, the Lord goes on and tries to warn the people that this king will tax them into oblivion and will take their sons and take their daughters from them to serve as servants and military men to this king. Yet they insisted on having this king rule over them, despite the warnings from the Lord. So what did God do? He granted them their wish and gave them King Saul. Now, this sounds very much like what is happening today, but quite frankly, on a much larger scale, and if you ask me, it's even worse. As sad as it is to say, the people of the United States have rejected God. And to prove that point, let me give you just a few statistics that I have read in the past few months. And I'm sure that many of you have seen these same statistics in various news articles. 73% of Americans believe that divorce is morally acceptable. 61% say that abortion should be legal in most cases. 70% believe that gay marriage is acceptable. And 65% believe that having a baby outside of marriage is morally acceptable. 73% believe that sex outside of marriage is acceptable. And 65% believe that smoking marijuana recreationally is also morally acceptable. So what do all of these social issues have in common? And they do have a common denominator. That is, they are all contradictory to the Word of God. Yet the majority of the people approve of these things and engage in these things on a regular basis. So, in other words, the people of this country have rejected the ways and the word of God. So, as God did to the people of Israel, so has he done to the people of the United States. He has given us the leader that the majority wants. So now we have leaders that are like-minded, and they favor abortion, gay marriage, lying, stealing, conducting fraudulent elections in broad daylight, taxation into oblivion, and fiscal recklessnesses. And don't forget, these people that are now in power, they're in favor of closing churches, in the name of safety, of course. So why should we be surprised by the results of this election? There's really no reason to be surprised. All right, reason number 2. As I've stated on this channel numerous times, the Bible is very clear that Israel must stand alone when it comes to their battle with Gog and Magog. And since the USA is Israel's biggest ally, something has to happen to us, the USA, that takes us away from coming to Israel's rescue. Now, I have often said that the USA could be removed from the picture as a result of the rapture of the church or due to some political event. And you can go back and look at my videos from 1 to 2 years ago where I'm saying that. And I think we may have our answer today as to which one of those two choices it will be. Since Biden and Harris are no friends of Israel, we can expect them to turn their backs on Israel at the first chance that they get. And they have already publicly stated that they intend to provide relief and assistance to Iran, otherwise known as Persia. So, in essence, God has just moved several chess pieces into place with this election. Gog and Magog are already physically at Israel's doorstep. Now the political situation will become more favorable to both Gog and Magog with this Biden-Harris administration. Okay, third reason. I do believe that God had to allow this election to play out as it did in order to remain true to his word in Matthew 24. In Matthew 24:10, Jesus tells us that right before his return, many will be offended with one another and betray one another. And the original Greek word for offend is scandalizo, otherwise known as scandal. Make no mistake, we are there at this very moment in time. 50% of the country can't stand the thought of each other and hate each other right now. And there is much betrayal going on at this very moment. In fact, everything amongst even the smallest of events is now considered a scandal by the media and the Democrats. People are rioting in the streets, burning buildings, assaulting the elderly, committing murder, yet it's all accepted as democracy by the Democrats. But when the other side conducts a peaceful protest in the buildings that were not burned down, nor were people assaulted, oh my, this is a national scandal. This is sedition. So you can clearly see how times have changed. What's good for one side is not good for the other. Okay. Jesus also tells us that because of, let me take a step back. Jesus also tells us that kingdom will rise against kingdom and nation against nation. And in the original Greek language, in the text, the word nation is translated as ethnos, or ethnicity, or a tribe, or a family, or a group of people that live together. Again, make no mistake, we are there today. This country is broken in half right now, and each side is rising against the other side. In fact, it was just in a newspaper article this morning. One of the media personality or media writer wants to cleanse the country of Trump supporters. Think about that for a minute. Okay, moving on. Jesus also tells us that because of rampant sin or iniquity, men will come to hate each other. We're absolutely there today. I don't think there's any question about that. The hate that the Democrats have for President Trump and his supporters is so deep that if they could, they would burn Trump at the stake, bury him, and then dig his body back up again, kill him again, and then burn him again. And if you think that I'm exaggerating, go back in history, and you will see that this is exactly what the Catholic Church did to many of the people that disagreed with them. And finally, and this is the one reason that even surprised me, when the 117th Congress opened on January 3rd, 2021, a Methodist pastor from Missouri gave the opening prayer. And in this prayer, he said this:
"We ask it in the name of the monotheistic God, Brahma, and God known by many names, by many different faiths. A man and a woman."
So think about that. This country was founded on the principles of God Almighty. And on January 3rd, 2021, we saw a Methodist pastor stand up in the U.S. Congress in front of the world and reject God, and then proceed to ask a Hindu god to grant them peace. This, brothers and sisters, was the wholesale rejection of God. And it was done on national television for the entire world to see. And they were proud of themselves. And they called it a very inclusive prayer. And as Isaiah 5:20 tells us, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. So as you can see, we should not be surprised at the election results. The Lord has put everything into plan according to his word so that he can return. And quite frankly, he has also given us everything that we have asked for and everything that we deserve. The only question is when will he return to clean up this mess? In the meantime, keep looking up, for our redemption does draw near. And for our sakes, I do hope that it is soon. Thanks for watching.